everyone, this is Rabnia's Blog Animation Bliss, and welcome to my first ever Animation Bliss at the movies. So what this series is all about is that I review animated films that just recently came out, and the animated film I'll be reviewing for today is the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, the movie. So before I get into my thoughts about this movie, I would like to remind everyone that new videos will be posted up every Sunday. It could be Sunday morning, Sunday night, or Sunday evening, depending on when I can get the videos posted up. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that must mean that there was a bit of anime news that was released during the week that I wanted to cover. So those would be considered special videos. But new videos will be posted up every Sunday. So now let's get started to my movie review for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, the movie. So what happens in this movie is that Equestria is holding a party, and Twilight Sparkle is trying to get everything ready for the big party. And then all of a sudden, this big ship comes into Equestria, and this other pony named Tempest comes out, and she starts turning all the princesses of of Equestria into stone. And the only princess she wasn't able to catch was Twilight Sparkle herself. And Twilight ends up escaping with her friends in tow, and they try to find this place where they can try to use the like they trying to find this ancient group of ponies who disappeared years ago, and to get their help and to helping them save Equestria from Tempest. Meanwhile, it turns out Tempest is working for the big bad, the Storm King, and the Storm King wants to take over Equestria, so he sends Tempest, his commander in chief, after the ponies, after Twilight Sparkle and her friends, so she can turn all of the princesses of Equestria into stone. And that's pretty much the gist of the movie so far. It's pretty much Twilight Sparkle and her friends trying to save Equestria from the forces of the Storm King and Tempest. So what are my thoughts about this movie? I really enjoyed this movie. Actually, I was surprised that I enjoyed this movie as I did. And because I thought when I went into it the first time, I wasn't going to like this movie because it was based off a TV series. And I kind of have this thing about movies based off of TV shows that usually when they do movies that are based off of TV shows, they don't do a good job into introducing the characters to a movie-going audience. And while the movie does have that problem, I'll probably explain more about that and the issues I have with this film later on. But it's like my issues with the TV shows being converted into movies. I will say I really enjoyed this film. Like, one of the things I really enjoy about this film is that it was actually 2D animated. For once, we have an animated film that's actually 2D animated. Like, it's been a long time since we actually had an animated film that was 2D animated, and I'm glad that this particular film was 2D animated. Like, it still has some flash elements into the animation, like straight from the TV series, but it's much more on an epic scale, and it looks like you're watching a Disney movie from the Renaissance age in the 90s, in some retrospect. So I like how the animation in this movie is a lot more smoother and a lot more, I would say, expressive with the characters than they were in the TV series. So that's what I love so much about the animation. And I like how this film is a little darker than the TV series itself. Like, why there are some dark elements in the TV series, the darker elements in this film is a little darker than most. Like, you actually have Equestria being a real danger. You have the princesses being turned into stone. You have the villain nearly having victory and taking over Equestria. So, and you also have the ponies on friendships being tested in this movie. But yeah, the darker and edgier feel of the film made this really interesting, and that's what I really enjoyed about the film, was that it was a little more epic in scale, and then it had some darker moments that you wouldn't normally see in the TV series, or at least wouldn't be upgraded to 11 in the TV series. So those are some things I really liked about the film. And I like the fact that Twilight Sparkle and Pinkie Pie seem to have like the most screen time in this film. What we also have Rainbow Dash, who's also a big character in this film. But I like the moments with Twilight Sparkle, Pinkie, and Rainbow Dash, because It seems like this is their movie too. Even though I would have liked to see more development with Fluttershy and Rarity and Applejack, I do like the fact that we get some focus on Pinkie Pie too in this film. So that was pretty interesting. Watching this film all the way through, and of course we're going to get some focus on Twilight Sparkle herself, as she's the last princess, and we're trying to see her. We're seeing her trying to save Equestria the best way she knows how, and the fact that this film takes place outside of Equestria, and how the ponies are like wondering, would their magical friendship with each other work in the outside world, or the world outside of Equestria. I like how the film was able to explore all that, like what the ponies friendship actually work outside of Equestria. When they were in Equestria, usually works most of the time when they're defeating bad guys, but now when they're meeting people who are outside of Equestria, they're wondering to yourself, would it actually work? What kind of people are we dealing with also? So I like how the film was able to explore that. So here's some problems I did have with the film. As I mentioned before, this is a movie that was based off a TV series, and I will admit that I've been way behind in the My Little Pony episodes. So of course, there are some things that did confuse me, like about Twilight being princess. Even though that happened way back in season 4, I have seen season 4, and I have seen a lot of episodes of Twilight was a princess. But that's still a concept that I'm still not used to this very day. But yeah, there were some things that happened in this movie that I was a little confused about because I haven't been keeping up with the show lately. But also, if you're like a general movie going fan, or if you're a general movie goer and you've never seen My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, chances are you're gonna be really lost with this movie. Like, you're gonna be wondering who these characters are, and you're gonna be wondering what kind of world they live in, and why are these characters together or whatever. So I kind of wish that this film actually explained to the audience what was going on in the TV series. Like, have like maybe a short little scene where Twilight kind of explains how she became friends with Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, and all the rest of the ponies, and how she became the Alicor princess, and what their adventures are like up to this point. So I wish that there was a little scene where Twilight Sparkle explained all of that to the audience, so that way the audience would have an idea what's really going on in this TV series, in this movie. So chances are, if you've been keeping up with the show, you probably already know these characters anyway, and this movie would be like, oh, this is a more epic version of the TV series we've seen before. So that's one of the problems. And then a major problem I had with this movie was that I felt like that the villains were underdeveloped. Well, at least the Storm King was very underdeveloped. Like, he seemed more like a generic comedic villain who just wants power, and not much was really being done with him other than he just wants to take over Equestria. But I felt like Tempest, who was like his commander-in-chief, had more focus and had a lot more development with her character. And I like how the movie was able to develop her character. But at the same time, I was like, well, how did she end up with the Storm King in the first place? And we do see how she lost her horn, so I like how that was an issue for the film too. But I would have liked more juxtaposition on the Storm King himself, and how did he came to be, how did he meet up with Tempest. I would have liked to know more about his character. And I will admit the ending felt a little rushed. Like, it felt like it's like the movie's like, oh, we gotta have this big epic fight between the ponies and the bad guy. So they kind of rushed through the storyline a bit towards the end, and I will admit that a lot of things weren't quite developed at the end to get to that point. But despite all those problems I had with the film, overall I really enjoyed this movie, especially since I'm a huge fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and I think this film did the series, the franchise justice. And of course, I'm not going to rate this movie, but I'm going to be more like, do I recommend this movie to moviegoers or not? Yes, I highly recommend this movie, especially if you're a huge fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. It's probably more like a film for the fans of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. But if you've never seen the show before, or if you've been way behind in the show, then chances are you're going to be a little lost with this film. I will admit that I was a bit lost with some parts of this film because I've been behind on this series a bit. But overall, I have really enjoyed this film, and I hope to see more of the other characters if they decide to make a second movie to My Little Pony. So I'm really hoping they make a My Little Pony movie too. So I'm really excited if they decide to do a second movie to this My Little Pony movie. So what are your thoughts about this movie? Have you seen the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic movie? And if you have, did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? What are some things you think they could improve on? What are some things you liked about the movie? Please feel free to comment below, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter so we can keep you updated any new videos we post up, and also like our Facebook page. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit Ears Blog and Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later.